differently, or like how I could have came across that conversation better and all of that. And I have really big, like, high standards in my head of like how I should be and like how I want myself to be, but those aren't the standards that God has for me, and I can't get or see past that. I just see like, okay, well, I want to be that way and I want to be the best person I can be, but you know, everybody has downfalls, everybody goes through struggles, and I don't like thinking like that, but we have to think like that. Okay, so we're gonna get started. So my like walk with Christ has always been like, I'm not gonna lie, it's been bumpy, and I've gone back and forth on like, why would God do this to me, or like, why would God put me in these positions when things get rough, because like, again, I fear judgment. Why would he put me in a position where I'm getting judged by my whole school, or by my whole class, or by my family? So let's just keep going. My 8th grade year, my brother was a pothead, and it was February, so I was 14, and in my 8th grade year, my house got raided by like the police and the drug enforcement people. And to like keep this going, I was a 3-sport athlete. My mom was our school nurse, the head cheer coach, and my brother was a senior in high school. Like, my town's not very big, everybody knows everybody. So the night that we got raided, it was the worst night of my entire life. I would never wish that upon anybody, even my worst enemy. I was 14 and got told to stop crying because I was an adult and I shouldn't be crying when my brother did this to me, or I got pushed to the ground by these big bearded drug enforcement men because they thought I had needles on me, when in reality all my brother had in my house was marijuana, which is still bad, but they made it out to be so much worse than it was. And so it's my brother and like all his best friends, and there was like 7 boys there all the time, and they were my older brothers. Like, I didn't think anything differently of them. I didn't even know they smoked weed. They always hid it from me, whatever. So my mom got fired from the school because it was in her house and it looked bad on the school and all of that. And my brother, like, you know, got in trouble more and more. So it was like I didn't go back to school for 5 days because I feared judgment, because I didn't know who my friends were. Families in Lebanon talked about us every single day. We were blasted all over the news because my mom was the school nurse. We were blasted on the news, in the newspapers. I couldn't go home for 2 weeks because people would be knocking on our doors, like asking us why we would be doing these things and why my mom should be putting a 14-year-old in that boat. And yeah, it was difficult. But anywho, when I went back to school, like, I really did find out who my true friends were, but I also saw more judgment every single day. I would walk through the hallways and someone would stare at me, or someone would ask me if I had weed on me because my brother had that, or I like would get told like, oh, I bet your mom probably got high this morning, or all of this stuff. And I was an 8th grader walking through middle school hallways, and I just, again, would never wish that upon someone. And then so that blows over, and I go into my freshman year, and my anxiety is still really bad at this point because I feared everything out in the real world. My freshman year, my first day of school, I like had a full-on panic attack because it was, you know, high school, and we had to say my first and last name. My brother just graduated from high school, and teachers knew people, so I had a full-on panic attack because my name's Alexandra Rutan, and everybody in my town knew what happened to me and my family. So, you know, I had that. And yeah, that was freshman and sophomore year. So it happened 8th grade year. Freshman and sophomore year, I still struggled really hard with like just getting over the fact that when someone would look at me, like, they weren't just thinking I was a pothead, because, you know, my family was. I wasn't. I had to get over the fact that, you know, my brother is a good person, he just smoked weed. Or I had to get over the fact that people liked me even though my brother was arrested, or this happened to my family. So then, and both those years I had a boyfriend. There were two separate boyfriends. That sounded really bad, but my freshman year I had a boyfriend, and then my sophomore year I had a boyfriend, and they really did help me like get over those and like made me feel so much better. But they were also not the right people to be with. I was just with them because I knew I was loved and I felt comfortable with them. And so I really did get better my freshman and sophomore year. Moving forward again, my sophomore year, after my boyfriend and I broke up, I just learned that I needed to be free and single and live my life and not worry what other people thought of, because God has his eyes for us and he thinks how he wants to think about us. We don't have to worry about other people's opinions. So my junior year, I was in high school, and I was really big into, I wanted to fit in at that point. I wanted the best group of friends. I wanted to be this type of person to all my classmates, and again, I had all of these thoughts coming back to my head because I wanted to be the girl that everybody liked in high school. So my junior year, I started partying and lying to my mom or hiding things from my mom, and I just fell out of my walk with Christ because I thought what I wanted was to walk with my best friends, what they were doing, and having fun with them. So I stopped going to church my junior year. I still believed in him, and I still prayed with him, but it was only once a week. Or, I would go to church on Christmas and Easter and any of that. I wouldn't go to church, and this is awful, but I wouldn't go to church because I fear judgment from my friends making fun of me for going to church. Which, why would someone think like that, and why do I have to fear judgment of God when he's the one who made me who I am? So so then fast forward again, my senior year, I slowly got out of that phase, and I learned that lying to my mom and hiding things from my mom is not what she needed and what she should go through again, because that's what happened, and that's why she got in trouble with my brother. So I slowly got out of that, and I became more loving, more respectful, more honest, and all of that with my mom. And I ended up telling her everything, and she was the one person who didn't judge me. She was the one who, I lied to her, and yes, she was very furious with me, but there was no judgment. She, was just happy that I told her. We became super close after that, and so my senior year got better. I started walking with God again, and I started seeing him more, and I started thanking him more. I started talking to him more. And again, that's when I started realizing that why am I worrying about if I'm fitting in with my group of friends when I have my walk with God, or my person I talk to and need the most is God. So I just whatever. So when I graduated my senior year and I came into college, I fell back into the trap of, I'm nervous. All these new people, I have to make that right first impression. I have to have the right conversation with them. They have to know that I'm such a good person. I'm such a good girl. None of these people are going to know about my brother, and I need to get out of that mindset of thinking they're going to judge me right away. And I didn't do much my freshman year because I was scared. I didn't want to make friends because I didn't want them to hear about my past with my brother, or I didn't make friends because I was nervous on what they would think of me because I was a heavy-set girl, or I didn't have the correct hair, or I wasn't in that certain social group that they were in. So my freshman year, of college, there was really nothing to it. then my sophomore year, I got back into the swing of things and going to Delight and realizing that more and more that Jesus loves me. Like, I don't have to worry if, Jada Rose doesn't love me. I know God loves me. I know that my mom will love me no matter what, and she won't judge me, but even if someone else judges me, my mom's not going to judge me. God's not going to judge me. So your past doesn't define who you are. You're the same girl that God created, and no matter what you go through, God's not going to make you accidentally think you're the worst person ever. He's not going to tell you that, oh, you're terrible, your family shouldn't have done this or anything. He's going to accept you for the same, and he's going to still love you no matter what as the days go on. What was I going to say? The most important thing that I've learned from the judgment of my family problems was, and what I take from it now is, you have to, no matter what, everybody judges people, and I've gone through that with my head. I know I'm getting judged, and everybody judges people, and that's okay, but you have to remember that you don't know what's going on in someone else's life, and that's the biggest thing I took from the problem I had with my family, because I would walk into school and I still had the realest friends on my side, and I knew that they weren't judging me or my family for what we were going through. So I can't say, don't judge someone because, on the outside they look like this, but you don't know what they're going through on the inside, or what happened to them yesterday, or what they're feeling right this second, because they could have the worst day, and you saying one thing to them or you giving them that one look is going to make them break down and cry. Or, flip that around and give them the best compliment they need to hear that day. And just, you're going to feel great about yourself because you're going to make them smile and you're going to make their day, and they're just going to feel so much better at the end of the day as well. In high school, when my senior year, or when I graduated, I talked with God, and I remember having a conversation with him and asking him why I was being the way I was, or why I was feeling the way I was. And the biggest thing that I took from high school is, even though I thought I was fitting in and I thought I was in the right and I had the best friend group, I still lost the sight of God. I didn't know who he was when I got trapped into partying, or when I thought my friend group was the friend group I needed. My mom's biggest quote, if this doesn't make sense to you guys can come up and ask me, but my mom's biggest quote that she's always said to me about judgment is, those in glass houses, oh my goodness. Those in glass houses should not throw stones at others. And I just again, I know that we judge people, and I know it's hard not to judge someone, but you just have to realize that everybody is going through something. Everybody has a tough part in their life, or everybody has a story they're not sharing with someone because they fear that judgment. And there's this one quote that I liked from the chapter in the book, in the Delight book. It says, look at others in Jesus' eyes and not your own. And I know that's difficult to do because we think we're looking at the most perfect girl, but we can't say that they aren't going through something. And Jesus knows what they're going through, but we don't. So we need to look at someone like Jesus is looking at them and knowing that they are the most amazing girl, and even if they have a story or have a past or have a difficulty in their life, that they still deserve every single ounce of love that they have and that we have to give to them. So that's my story. I'm sorry it was really fast.